Oh my god, guys! I'm so excited to do this video. I've been arguing about going back to doing. I hate to use this term, but it's a term that we all use: celebrity birth charts. When I started this channel many years ago, it was one of the things that I used to do and what I was known for, and then I just veered away from it. And I've been arguing about going back to doing the odd one here and there because I'm not to endorse celebrity culture, but it's a really incredible way to learn about astrology, learn how it all works, and especially by using people who are, in the public eye that we all kind of know about, and we feel like we have a connection to them. We know about their lives, what they share with them on social media, and just how the way the world works, isn't it? And I am a huge Bad Bunny fan, and I think, this was a really cool opportunity to think, you know what, I'd love to see what's going on with Benito's birth chart and transits, because there's so much stuff going on for him. He's in the public eye at the moment, more so than ever. And astrology does not lie, And so that got me thinking about, okay, let me see if I can find his birth details online and pull up a chart and do some birth chart analysis for you guys, for you to learn about astrology, to show you exactly how the skies work and interpret the language of the sky to real life and everyday life. And the reason why I talk about moving away from celebrity culture is because we are going through, if you follow my channel, I talk about Pluto and Aquarius quite a bit, and Pluto and Aquarius is about transformation and the demise of, because this is what Pluto does. Pluto, wherever it sits, will change, for better use of the word, destroy, restructure. If you know tarot, the perfect card to represent planet Pluto would be the Tower, and the Tower literally is crumbling. And so Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, ruled by sorry, not ruled by Saturn. What am I talking about? Aquarius, yes, ruled by Saturn, right? Structure, reform, all that stuff. Also, Aquarius is also the modern ruler, is a Uranus too. And so we have this dynamic here where we have Saturn, structure, time, karma, and Uranus is freedom, fresh air, out with the old, in with the new. Then Pluto arrives, into the land of Aquarius, where it's going to be for a decade and a half at least. It's already been here for a year. There's huge shake-ups in the Aquarius realm, and the Aquarius realm is the 11th house in astrology, which rules, the playground of social media, of celebrity culture, of structure, of outdated systems, and Pluto's here to transform all that, especially in the sign of Aquarius. However, I really want to do the astrology, the birth chart for Bad Bunny. I think there's so much going on here for right now. And if you haven't watched the Super Bowl, where have you been? I think I've watched it about 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 times already, and I think I've cried every single time watching it. It's been so incredible, so powerful, so emotional. I thought it'd be an amazing time to put up his birth chart and teach you guys some astrology and delve in. Even if you're not a fan of Bad Bunny, it's an incredible way to look at what's going on for him, his birth chart, what's written in his birth chart. Because we all have a birth chart. If you know your birth time, it's incredible. It'll give you a really accurate representation. I don't have the exact birth time for Bad Bunny. I've done some digging around. There's a few websites which claim to have it, which I'll take with a pinch of salt. The birth type is really important when you want to pin the rising and the ascendant sign. However, if you don't have that for yourself, you can still do a birth chart reading, because we can use the sun in the sign of the first house, and the sun will become the ascendant. And we can really, because the sun is the life force, the sun is like the drive, the ambition, your desire to go forward. It's what motivates and drives you. It's the ego, right? It's your work, your career, your passion. And we put that in center stage as the first house to read the birth chart. And all the other placements in the chart won't change without the time anyway. Like your moon sign will pretty much stay the same. In this case, it hasn't, because the day that Benito was born, the moon was changing signs. But I want to read for both, and I'll show you what I think his moon sign would be just by looking at him. You can always do that. And just by the way he comes across, right? And I also there's a few websites who claim to know the rising sign. There was one that I was like, oh yeah, before I even read it, I was like, this is what I think. There was two rising signs that I pegged him as, right? And so I've cast a chart for both, so you can look at it and we can unpack it together. And if you think, okay, actually, I don't think that makes sense, or I think this is better, or you have your own opinion, I'd love to hear it. But I had two rising signs in mind before I even cast the chart. And when I looked online, there was one. I'll link the imagery, actually. There's one website which agreed with what I thought was my first choice. And then I was like, but there's a few things I don't agree with. There's one that I think could be perfect. And I pegged that, and I've cast a chart for that. But when I'm starting this video, I'm going to be looking at it. We're going to look at his birth chart with the sun in the first house, okay? And that will just give you the energy of, okay, well, he's a Pisces sun. He's born on the 10th of March, 1994, in Vega Baja, in Puerto Rico, and so we'll use that as the pinpoint for the ascendant, and you can still read from that. I've done birth charts for clients before where they're not too sure on the birth time, and you can rectify the birth time if you know the timing, like roughly, by doing life events, which is another service that I do. But if you don't know that, you can still gain so much. You can really gain so much, honestly. And so let's get into the chart. So I think it's a really great time to talk about it. He's really in the public eye at the moment. Everyone's talking about him for all the right reasons. So let's get into it. And so I'm using whole sign house system. I love whole sign. I think it's really clear. I do use Placidus too, as well as others as well, depending on what I'm doing, right? There's so many different house systems. But the purpose of this chart is to keep it nice and simple. I think it's great to use whole sign astrology. It's what the ancient astrologers used. It's what ancient astrologers used and used to this day when we do predictive astrology, and we're casting into the future. Whole sign is incredible, all right? And so we don't have the birth time as correct. I've played around with the chart, but I want to just use it as a Pisces rising sun in the first house for this instance. This will give an Aquarius moon, which I'm not too sold on, but it could be right. There's a few things we can unpack with this, so just bear with me. But so if you don't know your birth time, you can still cast your own chart. It doesn't matter too much. Obviously, the more accurate you are with the birth time, the more accurate it will be for your reading and your rising, because the rising sign is what you come across to the world. It's like how you are perceived, how you embody, how you emit your energy. Okay, and so let's get into Bad Bunny Benito, his birth chart. And so we have him here as a Pisces sun, right? On the 10th of March, 94, the sun was in Pisces. We can't change that. So he's 100% a Pisces sun, right? And his moon sign is in Aquarius. First of all, before we get into that, look, if we put his sun into the first house as a Pisces, say if it's a Pisces rising, the sun in the first house, Pisces is here to create, right? To be artistic, to sing, to dance, to perform, right? To create art, right? This is one of the octaves of Pisces, what they're here for, right? But also to collectively bring everybody together through humanity and through empathy, because there is no greater sign which promotes understanding and empathy than a Pisces. And Pisces embodies each one. I mean, we all embody each of the zodiac signs within our birth chart. This is why when you look at this wheel, or if you don't know, if you look at the wheel, right, which is the birth chart, it has 12 sections, right? And each of those sections is represented by a different sign, and a different sign, right? And each house means something different. And we all are made up of these 12 houses, right? So we all have Scorpio somewhere, we all have Pisces somewhere, we all have Aries somewhere, depending on your birth time, your location, day, all that stuff, right? And so And so, you know, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's made up of each of the other signs, and it's like the final boss. You know what I mean? It incorporates all of the signs together, and this is what Pisces is: the most empathetic. It understands, right? It's humanity. It brings everybody together, right? Pisces make great artists. If you just Google Pisces celebrities, and there's so many, and actually Pisces is the sign of, Leo is the sign of celebrity, of course, right? The diva. But Pisces is the sign of, is like Hollywood, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Venus is a higher octave Venus is the lower octave of Neptune, right? Venus, the planet of creativity, art, singing, performing, is exalted in the sign of Pisces, because Pisces is the performer, is the dancer, is the singer, is the choreographer, right? So if you just Google like celebrities who are Pisces, there's rising, sun, moon, whatever. There are so many, right? Pisces rules Hollywood because Neptune rules movies, it rules cinematography, it rules photography. It's visual, you know. It loves to visualize. Pisces, it romanticizes. It's, you know, it's the romancer, right? And so just going off the sun sign alone gives you so much food for thought as to, you know, the purpose of the person whose birth chart it is. And so if you put his sun in the first house, people who have the sun in the first house are well known, because the sun is the life force, right? I'm not saying he's a Pisces rising. He could be, because he has those dreamy Pisces eyes, and I'm just saying that because I'm totally in love with him. I don't think he's a Pisces rising at all, by any means. He could have that energy because he has the Pisces eyes, but he has those Pisces eyes because he's a Pisces sun, right? So there is that, because your sun sign will give you some characteristics, some traits as well, you know, as to what you will look like. I don't think he's a Pisces rising in by any means, but we're using the sun sign in the first house to read for life purpose. And so sun in the first house, girl, you're meant to be well known. And what I like about the sun is that it squares the MC, right, in this chart. And this is like, okay, well, my life purpose involves being seen. My work and my career is very much tied into my personality, my ego, what I'm here to do, because the sun is squaring the MC, and the MC is tied in with your public persona, what you're here to do, what you're known for. The 10th house is that anyway, right? And it's really interesting because when I looked at before I even looked at his chart, I was like, I wonder if he's a Sagittarius rising, because I feel like he's not super tall, and he has a Sagittarius big booty, and there's a few other things. The only thing he doesn't have, or a lot of Sagittarius risings do have, and no shade to Sagittarius, I've literally dated so many, like, I'd say, I think I've only ever dated Sagittarius guys, and not intentionally. Just I have my Lilith in Sagittarius, so I attract Sagittarius men. And I was like, okay, I'm used to give me Sag vibes. Because if you indicate, the one thing he doesn't have is like the Sagittarius always have like a horsey kind of mouth and horsey teeth. He kind of gives me a bit of that, but not too much, right? But then you could have, you know, celebrities have a lot of dental work done, right? But his 10th house here, his public persona, his MC, in this chart is Sagittarius. So there is that, which would give him that Sagittarian vibe. And then Sagittarius is all about, you know, breaking the mold, doing things your own way, embodying culture, spirituality, religion, breaking the rules. It's about expansion. It's the truth seeker. It's uniting people together through our differences. And this is very much Sagittarian energy. Sagittarius always is the seeker of truth and knowledge, and they want to do things that are different to everybody else. They're so interested in culture, in religion, in spirituality. And this is very much tied into Bad Bunny's music. So which I thought was really interesting one. This won't change regarding his birth chart anyway, whichever time he was born. Should I do moons? No, I'll moon. So when I read for people, for clients, I always do their sun sign, their moon sign, their rising sign, right? And so his moon sign, I'll do it in order how I would do it if I'm reading for a client, right? And so in this chart, he is an Aquarius moon, right? A lot of resources online are saying that he is a Pisces moon, right? If we put him as a Pisces moon, that will change the ascendant to Taurus. He could be a Taurus rising because of how he speaks quite slow, how his movement is like quite relaxed. But I don't believe this to be true. I mean, the thing with Taurus rising, they're always very beautiful, and he's very beautiful. I don't think I'm alone in saying this. He's very beautiful, right? But this will give his North Node in the 7th house, and I don't think that he's not really known for his relationships as such. So I don't believe this to be true with that, right? However, I did play around with the charts regarding the moon sign, and if we move the time over slightly, he would be, which is, I think is what I had him as, right? Nah, maybe we can stick with Taurus. I think, did I get him as a Gemini too? Let me have a quick look at this. Yeah, let me just. I'm gonna share the Gemini chart as well, because when we move the time slightly, he becomes the Pisces moon, right? Because the moon changes. So the moon, it changes a degree every 2 hours, right? So this is why, when you have people born on the same day and they're born on different times, for example, even if, like, for example, my mum's a twin, her twin was born a few minutes later, and that changed they're the same ascendant, they're both Scorpio rising. However, because they're born, like, I think it was off 5 minutes apart, just 5 minutes apart, right? My aunt, her degree to her ascendant is like 1 or 2 degrees different to my mum, right? And that changes everything about her chart, because the degree will give you the flavour of the ascendant. And this is why people are born on the same day. This is my original point, is that the moon changes degree every 2 hours. And so in a day, Bad Bunny's gone from an Aquarius to a Pisces moon. I'm edging. I'm more Pisces moon. I do see the Aquarius as well, because the Aquarius moon, right? There's a caveat to this, which is why obviously I don't know him, but this is why I don't think he's an Aquarius moon. But I could see, when we take him back to the original chart, when I cast his chart with a Pisces in the 1st house, right? His moon is in the 12th house, and the 12th house is originally ruled by Pisces. And so when I look at someone's chart, even if the moon is in, like, so his moon is in Aquarius, right? And that straight away I'm like, okay, this person is a rebel. He wants freedom. He does things his own way. He carves his own path. He's unique. He speaks up for the underdog, which is what he does, right? He supports women's rights. His song "Jo Poré Sola," "Jo Poré Sola," he champions, I dance alone. It's safe for me to dance alone as a woman. I don't need a guy to one up on me or whatever. I dance. I dance solo. I dance on my own. And in that video, he dressed in full drag, right? And he talked about actually how he discovered Lady Gaga when he was performing at the Super Bowl. It was his lifelong dream to perform with her, because he was a little monster. And he discovered Lady Gaga because he used to create tracks for his cousin, his primo or prima, who did drag, right? And they introduced, I'm going to use the right program, they introduced him to Lady Gaga, right? And this is somebody who does things differently. He stands for the underdog. And I'm an Aquarius stellium, Sun, Venus, what's my stellium? Sun, Venus, Mercury, right? We are so much about fighting for the underdog. And because Aquarius, we are humanitarians. His Aquarius moon is like, okay, I'm a humanitarian. I'm doing this for the collective. I'm bringing everyone together for the collective good of all of us. The quote that I've been seeing a lot lately, which is not his quote, you have to forgive me because I'm not sure exactly the right source. So I think it was from the slave trade, freedom. I can't think of the lady who I read this quote from, and they said something like, "None of us are free until all of us are free." And this is such a Aquarius moon phrase, where they will fight for the freedom of everybody, right? And he's doing it through a Pisces means. This is 12th house shit, right? And 12th house is to do with art, dancing, creativity, music. Right, and so if his moon sign, the moon sign will show you his feelings, his emotions, his sensitivity, right? And this is the 12th house is a hidden house. It is in Pisces though, so it can be very emotional, very sensitive, and he does come across someone who's super sensitive. I saw the clip of him at the Grammys when they announced Album of the Year, Artist of the Year, I think it was, and he literally had to take a moment to compose himself, and he was so emotional. You could see that he wanted to burst into tears and hold it all down, hold it together. And I know so many people, including myself, who've watched the Super Bowl, who have just been in tears, who are not Latino. But for me, for example, my family are immigrants, and the culture is so similar, and the struggles and what have you, and you feel it. And even if you're not from that descent or background, you still empathise, you still feel it, because he does that. He did that. This is the Pisces energy that he has. Pisces have this way to connect with people and feel what he feels. Even as I speak this, I get so emotional because he embodies that. He gives that energy. And through his art, it's his Pisces shit. And so should I talk more about the moon? There is so much you can talk about the moon. His north node, right? His north node is squaring. It's squaring his ascendant. His north node is squaring his moon. So this is okay, I'm here to. Actually, now I'm looking at this chart, he has a skipped step. And so this is okay, when you have a personal planet, this is 2 degrees apart, right? But his moon is forming with T-square to the north and south node. This means when somebody has a moon or a planet, right? Any planet, actually, making a T-square, right, to the nodes of fate and destiny, they're here to do big things. All right. As I'm saying that, I'm thinking, oh my God, I have this too. And so it's okay, I have something from my past karmic life, which I haven't done yet, but I've learned some lessons from my past lives to be in this moment, to activate my nodes of destiny, right? Which I'll get onto in a second, actually. He has Pluto here too. Pluto. This can also mean when you have Pluto square the moon, there can be tension and difficulty in upbringing, in family dynamics and nurture, all right? But I'm not going to go too much into that. I want to talk more about, I'm not going to go into family dynamics with this. There's so much you can read just by looking at this, right? So one thing I thought was really interesting, right, was when we look at this. So remember, we were using Bad Bunny's chart with the sun in the first house, right? This gives him a Pisces ascendant. He could have that, right? I don't believe he's a Pisces ascendant. However, he has Venus in Aries, right? People, his Venus will not change. Whatever time we give him, his Venus will not change, because Venus takes between minimum around 4 weeks to change signs. So at that time he was born, Venus was 100% in Aries, right? And the day that he was born, it was 2 degrees, right? So I love the degree theory. So not only do I look at I read birth charts, yes, I look at the planets and the aspects. The aspects meaning the lines, the blue and red lines. We have squares which are challenging. They bring out your drive to do shit. We have opposition, which are obstacles, which will help you overcome your scarcity. We have trines and sextiles, which are harmonious. They really help you. Can make you a bit lazy. Sometimes people are like, oh my God, I have loads of red lines in my birth chart. I'm going to have a really bad life. I was like, no, honey. I love to see squares and oppositions in a birth chart. It means that you are going to be driven to do so much shit. I read for people who have, undated people actually, who've had So many sextiles, so many trines, and they were so like everything was just given to them so easily, which is amazing because we're not here to struggle. We're not here to struggle. Everything was given to them so easily, and yet they were so dissatisfied with their lives. They were so bored beyond belief. They were so. This is a human struggle, right? Because everything was so easy for them. There was no kind of gratitude. There was like no. Appreciation of anything, right? And so there's this multifaceted caveat when it comes to your birth chart. You'll be given so many gifts within your chart. All of it's gifts, right? Even the challenges, right? Even the challenges are gifts. And so anyway, I look at the aspects, but I also look at the degrees. And so you know the numbers around the planets, around all the symbols, or they all represent different planets and what have you, right? And so his Venus at 2 degrees. 2 degrees is the Taurus degree. Taurus also rules the throat and vocals and speaking, right? And how we speak and how we sing. And I love to see there's so many singers, rappers, celebrities who are known for their voice, who have either a 2 degree to their Venus, or they have Venus in the second house. And in this birth chart, with his life purpose being the sun, Venus will be put into the second house, and the second house is how you make money, right? How you make money is in the second house. How does he make money? Through his creativity. Venus is creativity. Venus is art. Venus is performing. Venus is dancing, right? Venus is the 2 degrees of Taurus. Taurus is people who have 2 degrees of Taurus or Venus in Taurus always have beautiful voices. Whether they sing or not, they always have beautiful voices, and they get paid for their voice. This is what this man does, okay? And what I love to see, not only do you get paid, I think I read a chart for Kylie Jenner, and I used some other people as examples. When people have Venus making any aspect to Pluto, right? Pluto is in his ninth house, right? Ninth house is like spirituality, your beliefs. He's making a trine to Venus, so he's like, okay, Venus is like harmoniously helping out Pluto. Like, okay, we're gonna make money from you singing and performing about your beliefs, right? About what you believe in, which is what he sings about, right? However, even that to one side, when Venus and Pluto aspect, this can create millionaires, billionaires. I don't know his financial status, but I'm sure that he's not. I'm sure that he's pretty financially supported. Venus trine Pluto always brings huge amounts of wealth, right? Huge amounts of wealth, and also the North Node too. He has the North Node. Yeah, he has the North Node trining Venus too. It's a really loose trine, but it really helps out the money aspect, especially when it's aspecting the money planet Venus, right? And we were talking money as well. Jupiter can be tied up into this story. He has Jupiter conjunct his North Node, giving you lots of cash internationally, because the ninth house rules international. So this is not just I'm just known in my own country or my own town. I am known all over the world. This is the ninth house shit, okay? And also, when we talk about international long-distance travel, his moon is in the 12th house. The 12th house also rules international, also rules travel too. Also rules the world as a wider spectrum. And this is just going off a few different placements. Like, this is not even like going off the rest of his birth chart, okay? Where, like, this is gonna be like a really short video. We're already like 30 minutes in, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what information we have available. So I want to keep going really quickly with this because I don't want to be too long to bore you. But what I love to see, he has Mercury in Aquarius too. The planets have certain places where they're stronger, they're weaker. All right. So, for example, we're talking about Mercury, right? Mercury rules things like There are 2 signs. It rules Virgo. It rules Gemini, right? Communication. So Mercury does really well in those signs because it rules it. That's its home, right? It's familiarity. It knows where the law of the land there because it rules that area. But they also have an exaltation. An exaltation means they have an area of the sky. Another place in the sky where they act even better, they act even well, right? He acts even stronger. And that's exaltation planet sign. And the exaltation for Mercury there's controversy around this. I believe this to be true, that it's Aquarius. Some people say it's Virgo. I believe that a planet can't be in exaltation in a sign it already domiciling. Okay. So for me, yes, 100% Mercury exalted in Aquarius. I see so many people who rap, who sing, who write, who write their own lyrics, who write books, who have Mercury in the sign of Aquarius. They do say Mercury in Aquarius can be the sign of genius, right? You can also, especially because this is the 12th, I don't believe that he has a 12th house placement with this, but sometimes Mercury in the 12th house in Aquarius can lead to things like anxiety, depression, ADHD, mental unwellness, right? Which all of us do have. We have the power to heal and work with that. But Mercury in Aquarius is very much about a stroke of genius, right? And so I love that for him because he has Mercury in Aquarius, which is acting really strong. So this is fantastic for writing music, for performing music, for singing, for rapping. And also, what I love about all this Aquarian energy is that Aquarius breaks the rules, right? Aquarius does things their own way, which is what he does. And if we're going to use this chart to be true, the moon and Mercury in the 12th house rules foreign lands, and so he sings in his mother tongue. He sings in his own language. He never has changed that. He's like, I'm Puerto Rican, I am Latina, I'm speaking Spanish, and I'm not going to change that. And he's always done that, and he continues to do that. He did that on Sunday at the Super Bowl, right? He did that. And this is very much about 12th house shit, because the 12th house is foreign lands, right? And Mercury's how you communicate. And what does he do? He communicates in his mother tongue, and I absolutely love that for him. Okay, so he has also at 2 degrees Mars. Right. Mars is your drive, your passion, and his drive and passion is in Pisces. I'm not obsessed with Mars being in Pisces. However, Mars is the warrior, right? And what is he doing? His message on Sunday was the only thing stronger than hate is love. This is so fucking Mars in Pisces. Right, this is empathy. This is like Pisces people always want to see the best, right? They always want to look for the best, look for the good. They believe it. They want to preach love. They want to preach peace. They want to preach, if we can all get along, we can all, we absolutely can. However, Mars is like, look, I'm still gonna fight for my rights. I'm still gonna defend. I'm still gonna speak my truth. I'm still gonna advocate for what is incorrect and fight for equality, because we're all equal, right? All of us, right? And Mars in Pisces is very much like that. This is about my drive, my passion, my warriorness, my ability to stand up for my beliefs is going to be done through artistic pursuit, through love. Like, I'm going to just love on that. I'm not going to bow down to your level. I'm not going to cause controversy through hate. There were so many people who were trying to pick apart the performance to find, somewhere where they could kind of like clap back at the opposition, and there was literally no need to, because the biggest clapback that he did was that he showed that we were all united as one. When he finished the performance by announcing, not all of, because he didn't have time, but a short amount of countries which make up the Americas, right? Not just the USA. He was like, naming all of that, as many as he could. And this is Mars in Pisces. This is Mars in Pisces. Okay. This is just a tip of the fucking iceberg, honey. I'm going to talk about transits. So what's happening right now is what we call transit. So yes, you have your birth chart, but we also have what the fuck is going on in the sky right now. So whatever's happening in the sky. People are like, oh my God, Mercury retrograde, the moon is doing this, new moon. Yes, that is all fucking true. But it's also like, well, yes, the moon is going to be full, the moon is going to be new, but how is that affecting me and my birth chart? And so as the moon moves around this wheel, right? So whatever's happening in the sky, you can translate that to the chart. So for example, as I'm recording this today, I think the moon is in Sagittarius, and on Bad Bunny's birth chart, that's the 10th house. So we could say, while the moon is traveling through the 10th house for Bad Bunny, he's going to be really focused on his work, his career, his public persona. right? He might be busy working that day, right? Whereas yesterday, the moon was in Scorpio, he's going to be laying low, he's going to be chilling, he's going to be probably booking some flights because it's like a ninth house transit. He might be doing paperwork. This is like as specific as it can be, right? However, I want to talk about the Super Bowl, right? So, we're talking. Well, I wanted to mention, he's a Pisces. Before we even know the rising sign, this guy, this beautiful specimen of human being who I absolutely love and adore, he is having eclipses. Honey, this guy is having eclipses on his sun, on his fucking, on his life purpose, right? Not only that, man's had his Saturn return. He's just had his Saturn return, right? I'm going to get into all that in a minute. He has Saturn in Pisces, right? He's having his Saturn return. He's lived through his Saturn return, right? So, each planet will have a return point. So return means the planet... When you have a birthday, for example, the sun comes back to its return. So the reason why you have a fucking birthday is because the sun comes back to the same place as to where you were born, right? So me, for example... No, I'm not going to tell you mine. Brad Bunny, for example, every time it's the 10th of March, the sun's going to come back to exactly where it was, which gives you the calendar, right? So, honey, 10th of March... Bad Bunny's solar return starts because the sun returns back to where it was 10th of March every year when he was born in 94. Saturn is there too, right? Saturn is there. Saturn is where your life purpose is, your karma, your lessons, right? It can give you strength. It can give you self-belief. And he said, during his performance, that he never stopped believing in himself. There's people saying about, oh God, in 10 years he's transformed his life. This is fucking Saturn shit. Saturn does not give you miracles overnight. Saturn is not like Jupiter or Venus. It's like, surprise, here's your blessing, right? Saturn's like, bitch, you want to fucking work, you want the money, you gotta work, you gotta show up every fucking day, you gotta do the damn thing, you've got to put in the hours, you're gonna fall, you're not gonna believe in yourself, you're gonna have self-doubt, you're gonna have crippling anxiety, but if you keep fucking going, even if people don't believe you, you are gonna win. You're gonna succeed, you're gonna have your blessings, you're gonna have your goals. I also have Saturn in the first house, right? Like, it's difficult. It's difficult because you have so much self-doubt, even if people don't see it. And I believe this to be true with him too. He might have so much self-doubt, but he'll still keep going, right? He's still going to show up. And this is the 10-year cycle for him, and he's actually transformed his life completely in 10 years. And this is Saturn. Saturn is like, look, honey, you do the work, I'm going to bless you. And you will not see the rewards until after your Saturn return, right? So your Saturn return, everyone has a Saturn return around the age of 27 to 30, right? That's about 2.5, 3 years. And you'll if you're lucky, you'll get 2 or you'll get 3 if you're really lucky, right? Most of us get 2, some of us get 3, right? Because it takes Saturn takes 27, 28, 29 years to complete its orbit, right? And so the first one everyone received was around 27, 28, right? And you know that during those ages, between 27 and 30, we go through this huge change, don't you? You're transitioning from, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not a teenager. I don't feel like a fucking adult. And yet I have responsibility, right? This is your Saturn return. And so Benito has been going through his Saturn return where he's had his added responsibility. He's been thrust into the limelight. You step into your purpose during your Saturn return, right? They can go either way. You can ignore your purpose or you can step into it. The universe will fucking let you know, though. And for him, because his nodes are in like a trine aspect to his North Node, right? And this is like, okay, I'm gonna help you out, honey. I'm gonna help you achieve your life purpose, right? Which involves Piscean themes, humanity, bringing people together, culture, right? Tradition. Saturn is tradition. Doing it your own way, though, right? Because he has this Aquarian energy about him with this moon being here. I believe his moon is Pisces, and I'll go and say in a minute. But oh yeah, this is what I want to say. So not only is he having a Saturn return, and his life has been so transformative over the last 3 years, right? Saturn is leaving his sign this week, moving into Aries, which will help him stack cash, make paper, and make huge amounts of money. He will have Saturn conjunct Venus. So for him, I wouldn't be surprised over the next 2 to 3 years where he will be in a long-term relationship or he will transform huge amounts of money, He may. I've seen this so many times. When I see Saturn conjunct Venus in a birth chart, I notice that people get into long-term relationships. They can marry. They can be. I don't know about his personal life too much. You have to let me know in the comments if you do. He could be in an age gap relationship because Saturn conjunct Venus can bring age gap relationships. So he may be dating someone older or younger. All right, with that as well. Going back to, actually, this is what I want to talk about quickly from talk about eclipses. Mars being in Neptune as well. Mars being in Neptune, what I'm talking about. Mars being in Pisces. This can bring this fluidity because it's water, right? There's a few, so I'm not saying that you can see sexuality in the birth chart. I am LGBTQ myself. I read for all walks of life, and I feel like there are some indicators that do show this. And I have Mars in Libra, and I've married a Mars in Libra. I've dated Mars in Libras, and they've all been gay guys, right? Because Mars is in detriment in Libra, it acts differently, right? The masculinity is slightly different, right? Mars in Pisces is similar to that, where I feel like this is where his gender fluidity comes on. He has openly talked about his fluidity, his sexuality. He's very open to, he's very Piscean when it comes to his fluidity. I want to say that, right? He doesn't want to be labelled. And this is very much about Pisces. Pisces people are not labelled. I'm a Pisces sun this year, right? In my solar return. And I'm like, I can't see this. Like, Pisces, I'm a Pisces rising, sorry, my solar return. Where, Pisces dissolves boundaries. What is he doing with his gender fluidity when he does drag in his videos? When he likes to have his nails did, like man likes to get his nails done. You know what I mean? In his Super Bowl performance, he had nail technicians there. This is such a fucking Pisces thing. And what is he doing? Pisces dissolves boundaries. What is he doing? He dissolved so many fucking boundaries. When it comes to hate, when it comes to all of us are the fucking same, no matter what colour you are, what religion you believe, what book you want to pray to, whatever it is, right? He's like, we're all the fucking same, honey, right? We're all humans living a human experience. Like, we are borderless. Who created borders? Imperialism. Not Bad Bunny, honey, And this is so fucking incredible just to see this with birth chart, right? Not only that, he's having eclipses. He will continue to have eclipses on his sun. We have the last Pisces Virgo eclipse happening in August this year. Right, we've got an eclipse coming next week, which will be on his moon. If we want to look at his moon as this, which could be something. Actually, now I'm saying it out loud, he could be an Aquarius moon because the Aquarius moon next week is 28 degrees. Right, and anything happening before and after the moon, like a week before, a week after, will be a snapshot how your life will be. And what has he just done? Man's just performed on the biggest stage on the fucking world. I mean, if you believe these figures to be true, I believe they're way more higher than this. But they're saying, they're saying it's the most watched Super Bowl in all time. 142 million people tuned in. I believe it's way more than that. However, still a huge accolade, and this is the eclipse energy. Eclipse bring fated events and they change your life. He's become the spokesperson inadvertently, whether he wants to or not, against all of the stuff that's happening in the States at the moment. I can't talk too much about that on this channel because of the way the platform works. However, I do talk more openly and freely on Rumble, Substack, and I've just downloaded was it called Upscale or Uproll or something, Upwards, something like that. We're going to be posting more unfiltered content, and also have Patreon too, actually, where we are unhinged and talk about all sorts of mad shit. But yeah, eclipses. If you we are all born with ecliptic points from that within our chart. He's not having a nodal return or anything like that, but he is having eclipses to his sun. All right, and when you have an eclipse to your sun, and his moon as well, essentially, if we're taking this chart to be true, he will be having eclipses on his moon and his sun, and so this is a pivotal fated destiny, right? And so for him, it's like transforming his identity. He was already pretty famous anyway, but over the last 3 years, this is the eclipse cycle as well. He's become like a superstar. And this is eclipse Rahu North Node energy really propels you into and he I think he openly speaks about he wanted to be famous, or he wanted to be well known for his music, and there's a shame about that. He was uploading onto Spotify while he was working in Supermercado, right? And he was doing all the things he wanted to do that. That was his his purpose wrapped up in his sun sign, which is I want to perform, I want to create. Mercury in Aquarius, I want to rap, I want to sing, I want to write lyrics, I want to write music, I want to speak about, my thoughts, feelings. This is Aquarius, Mercury, right? The moon being there. Humanitarianism, I want to fucking reach out, I want to talk about my people. All right. And for him as well, he has Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about tradition, right? Capricorn is tradition. Capricorn is like, okay, this is my tradition. This is my hometown. This is my people. This is my culture. Neptune is here. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. This is someone who's proud, who is so in love with their heritage. I'm not really emotional when I'm saying this myself, because it's like I have my moon in Capricorn, my South Node is here. I'm so proud of my culture. I'm so proud of my culture. And anyway, I'm trying to, girl, she be feeling the feelings. But yeah, okay, so Neptune, someone who is in love with the culture, right? But expresses it through art. Conjunct Uranus is like, okay, I'm going to fucking do this my own way. I'm going to be a bad bitch. I'm going to be a perracita and do what I want. I'm going to perform. I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to have crazy outfits and different hair. I'm going to change my look. I'm going to push the boundaries, but I'm going to do it whilst promoting my Puerto Rican heritage. This is the Uranus-Neptune story that he has. And I absolutely fucking love that for him. I love that for him. I do want this to be a super long video. There's so much I can talk about. With this, and I haven't even changed the slides because the slide I'm still showing is the same one that I'd saved for his birthday. And let me quickly just go over what I think. So I think that what I think personally, if I move him to Gemini rising, right, which he could be because I feel like he's shorter. He has some Geminian features, like little ears and a little cute nose, and the way he moves and speaks, and they make good rappers as well, right? That'll bring his moon in Pisces into the first house, into the 10th house, right? And that'll bring his Mars there, his Saturn there, his Sun there, right? And I believe that could be something for him because when someone has the Sun, the Moon, in the 10th house, right? This is someone who is really known internationally. But when you have the moon in the 10th house, everyone empathizes with you, they connect with you. This is why I feel like he could be a Gemini rising, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong if you don't believe this. I feel like he could be a Gemini rising because he's a fucking incredible rapper, he makes music, he writes, he communicates really well. His Mercury, where is his Mercury in the chart? Is still exalted in Aquarius in the 9th house, right? 9th house rules spirituality, it rules religion, it rules belief systems, it rules international, right? His Mars is really public in the 10th house. His energy, his life force is really public in the 10th house. But also, when someone has the moon in the 10th house, you have to let me know if you have this as well. People can just find it really easy to relate and connect with you. And his Venus in the 11th house as well. 11th house rules social media, it rules the collective, it rules humanity. Venus there is like, wow, the public, someone who has Venus in the 11th house, they're really adored by the public. Venus in the 11th house is incredible for making money too, because Venus rules money in abundance. And in the 11th house, it's like, they're one of the houses of good luck and good fortune. Having a benefic here is incredible. It's incredible. All right, it's incredible. I don't think I'm going to go too more deeply. I thought this was going to be a 20-minute video, but girl, we had some tea on that. We had some tea. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video. If you want me to do more celebrity readings, let me know if you are a Bad Bunny fan like me and watch the halftime show and cried your eyes out like I did. And let me know if you have any of the similar placements. I can't get my words out. If you have any similar placements like Benita, honey. Benita Bad Benny, honey. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know your take on this. And I think there's another couple of celebrities who I wanted to do it to work. And I've got some time at the moment because I'm taking some time out to do more spirituality, so I'm going to delve deep. So yeah, I hope you love this video. I'd love it if you'd like, subscribe and share the channel, of course. And if you would like a personal reading with me, I'll leave all the information in the show notes for you to do so. I do have a waiting list, like 4 to 6 weeks on personal readings, so make sure you get on the list for that, and I would love to read for you and work with you. All right, so thank you so much for listening. Te quiero tantísimo.